Alright, a third and final video of fragrance launches in 2024, this time from the luxury designer houses, more upper end exclusive collections, private collections, privé collections. I've got 15 fragrances here. It's a ranked list and a couple of bonus options that I want to tell you about as well. Find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking about 2024 fragrances from the designer's luxury collections, their upper end exclusives, private collections, privé collections, and so on. There's one technicality in here. Montblanc launched a series of 4 fragrances. I'm not sure if I consider those their upper end luxury collections. I'm featuring one of them here. And then Guerlain is featured here as well with 1 fragrance. And then in the bonus section, I have one that's probably not necessarily considered a luxury collection fragrance. I had somehow missed it, and I want to talk to you guys about it in that portion. But first thing I want to say, I'm a bit underwhelmed with Tom Ford fragrances lately. So Tom Ford usually ends up at the top of the list. This time they're mostly in the bottom of the list, and they had a lot of launches this year. There's one brand that actually I'm quite surprised at the way the fragrance smells. And then also a new brand that launched fragrances here that I have 2 of their fragrances as well. I'm talking about a designer that just launched their fragrances in a more private, exclusive collection. The one brand that I don't have, and the one brand that I did sample that I probably will not ever have, I should say the one brand that I don't have any of, but after sampling, I don't think I'm going to pick up any, is the Valentino upper end collection. But the one brand that I did really enjoy, but sadly I didn't get because I haven't found them here in the States yet, is the Paco Rabanne or Rabanne, luxury collection. So hopefully in the future I'll pick up a few of the Rabanne fragrances because there's several that I really like. But let's get started with the list. First of which is a Harrods exclusive, Amber Intrigue from the house of Tom Ford. It's ranked at the bottom, and as I was saying earlier, the Tom Ford fragrances are more in the bottom this time around. The last really great fragrance that I bought from Tom Ford was Vanilla Sex, one of my all-time favorites, and I wore one of the fragrances I wore the most of, especially in the first half of the year, is Vanilla Sex. But Amber Intrigue I wanted to like a lot more, but unfortunately it's not my favorite amber, and it's not my favorite Tom Ford fragrance, but I've put it here because I think it has some things going for it, but in the end, it's not like a fragrance I'm wowed over. It's created by Pascal Guérin and the perfumer Julian Rasconet, who I worked with on 54. But for some strange reason, this reminds me a little bit of Tom Ford's other Amber Absolute, and I was not a fan of that one either, so maybe this one just falls flat just like that one. But it's featuring Amber Accord, Labdanum, Sandalwood, Haitian Vetiver, Date Accord, and Olibanum. It's dark and smoky and resinous, and I wanted a bit more brightness, and I think that's what's turning me off from really enjoying it a lot. So that's Amber Intrigue. Then this next fragrance is the Montblanc fragrance. It's called Black MEISTERSTUck, and again, it's a technicality. Is this their more higher end exclusive collection? It's not sold at a lot of places, so I felt like it was kind of sort of. They're a bit more simplistic and less expensive than other collections like this, but I think the Black MEISTERSTUck is really great. It's an amber, vetiver, and incense combo. It's very dark and smoky, and I think it's the best one out of the 4. I think all 4 are fairly decent. Neither of them are bad, but this one stood out the most, and I wanted to highlight it here for its, dark and smoky, woody, ambery, experience here with this fragrance. Soon I'll do a video on all 4, hopefully, but I want to highlight Black MEISTERSTUck at number 14. And the next fragrance, going back to Tom Ford, it's Soleil Neige Parfum, this one right here. I mentioned, or I didn't air that video yet. I'll air a video of a haul I did with the fragrances from this, some of the fragrances here. But I get a little bit of a shampoo-like effect, but more of like a high-end shampoo. I'm uncertain about this one, and it's not like one of the best from the house, but I kind of like the way it smells. It's a bit tropical, but also very floral, and also ambery with orange blossom, bergamot, carrot seeds, mandarin, vanilla, woods, amber, Turkish rose. To me, the EDP is the best in this series of, I guess I should say the original in EDP of Soleil Neige. There's the whole Soleil collection, And then now we have Soleil Neige Parfum, which is the only fragrance in the Soleil collection to receive a parfum. And it's a bit of a disappointment for me, but still a little brighter and more happier than some of the darker fragrances that Tom Ford has launched. So Soleil Neige Parfum at number 13. And then up next, going to a really dark fragrance and smoky fragrance from the house of Van Cleef & Arpels. Incense Precio is what it should say. I almost said Ambre Presso, but I think that name is taken. But this is also a bit ambery for me. It's also very peppery. It's got pink and black pepper with a lot of incense. There's vanilla, leather, tobacco, amber, and myrrh. I really like it, actually. And I feel like my love for incense is coming back. I'm starting to enjoy and appreciate incense a lot more. There was a time I was a bit bored of. Could happen with oud as well soon. We'll see. But if you like an idea of a ambery, smoky, tobacco-ish incense fragrance, definitely try Incense Presso. I think it's definitely a solid fragrance. It's not my favorite of the Privé fragrances or the luxury collection fragrances, but definitely solid. All right, going to the house of Balmain. I've got 2 fragrances from the house of Balmain, and you'll see the fragrances that I bought from Balmain in a haul video very soon. This is Carbone. So I shot the haul video before I shot this video, and I'm holding that off because I wanted to do my year-end fragrance videos, and you'll see that video soon. But Carbone to me is like guidance for men, or more of a masculine take on guidance. I don't know if you guys get the similarities of guidance from Carbone. I do. Not a lot, but I feel like it's more of a masculine take on it. It's white musk, suede, rose, sandalwood, patchouli, cumin. And the other thing is, when they hadn't publicized the perfumers of the Balmain fragrances, when I tested them out at Galerie Lafayette, I thought I smelled Givaudan perfumers' DNAs in here. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing a lot of Quentin-Biche name come up in other Givaudan perfumers, although there's also Dominique Ropion listed for one of the perfumes. So they're not all Givaudan perfumers, but this, for sure, is like guidance, but in a bit more of a masculine way. And it's a bummer that we have, DNAs that are used in other fragrances and we're smelling it in other fragrances, which is kind of disappointing for me. But in the end, I like what I'm smelling. I do enjoy guidance, and I feel like Carbone, the new Carbone, this is not anything like the original Carbone, by the way. I feel like it's a bit of a more masculine take on guidance if you're into the idea of that. So that's Carbone from the house of Balmain. The next one is Tom Ford's Black Lacquer. Again, all these are dark fragrances so far, except for the Soleil Neige Parfum. This one's growing on me. I think the only reason this one has actually not wowed me, because as a smell I love it, on me it's not loud, it's a bit more close, it's closer, and I wanted a bit more exciting, and people are saying this is more so intense, so amazing, and things like that, and I kind of wanted a little more from this in performance rather than the smell. The smell is very unique and smoky and inky and also vinyl-y, but it has good performance. I just wanted a lot more projection. But in the end, it's ink, vinyl, ebony wood, peony, apricots, elemi, rum, black pepper, and olibanum. Very unique smell. And again, the disappointing part for me is I don't get a lot of sillage and projection. It sits closer to the skin, whereas it has good longevity and good lingering power. I wanted more of a wow, showstopper kind of fragrance. Anyway, Black Lacquer at number 10. Then we're going to the house of Chanel at number 9. It's Comete. I first was dismissing it because it's cherry blossom, and I'm not so into cherry blossom, but this has grown on me. I feel like the cherry blossom is providing a bit of almondy edge mixed in with the heliotrope here, which gives you an almondy effect anyway. And then along with the iris in here as well, it's a powdery fragrance, extremely powdery. There are some light traces of the cherry fruit, but for me, it's more about the blossom. And when you smell the blossom, you get an almondy smell. And of course, there's the contrast of almonds and cherries and almonds in a lot of different cherry-focused fragrances. This is not Lost Cherry. It's not anything like that. Doesn't have any kind of a Lost Cherry-like vibe. That kind of synthetic smelling kind of cherry smell that's kind of addicting. This is more of a very elegant, a bit more mature cherry blossom take on a powdery fragrance. It's very elegant and also refined, just like Chanel does, and I do find the Chanel DNA in there as well. Might maybe lean a bit more feminine than usual, but if you like iris, if you like powdery fragrances, definitely should try Comete from the house of Chanel. But the next fragrance going to the house of Dior, it's Gris Dior Esprit de Parfum. Very expensive fragrances, and these extract or parfum concentration redos of some of the most popular Privé fragrances. And I feel like Gris Dior is the most popular. They had a whole advertising campaign a couple of years ago on the original fragrance, and it's a given that they're going to launch a flanker of it. It's a cheaper style fragrance, and what they've done here with this is they've amplified the patchouli and the rose in this. There's a slight fruitiness in there, which I'm getting probably from the violet accord, but mostly it's basically taking the original Gris Dior and giving it a very intense concentration. So it's very, very pricey, as I said, and but I like this one quite a bit. I love the original. Was not a love at first sniff, by the way, and the fact that it's an intensified version of the original, I quite like it. The only thing I should say is there was not any regular Dior Privé fragrance launch this year. I think the new look came out last year, so I did not feature it in this list, but I should say that next year, we're getting Dior Privé fragrances, especially the one called Bois Talisman, which is coming in 2025. So maybe New Look did launch in 2024. I can't remember, but I had a sample in 2023, so I did a short video on it. But the new bottles will be 200 ml versus a 250 ml and 100 ml versus 125 ml. I have a whole video breaking down all the bottle size changes and the new fragrances coming. Go catch that video. But if there's a stock out there of 250 ml bottles and there's fragrances that you've been wanting to get from Dior, get them because they're going to change to less juice. And I think they're keeping the same price, or maybe they might increase the price as well. I don't know 100% on pricing changes, but I was told the price is going to stay the same. The size is going to be different. But nothing's going to happen with the Esprit de Parfum fragrances. And at number 8, it's Dior Gris Dior Esprit de Parfum. All right, up next, going to the house of Fendi. This is the Fendi luxury collection of fragrances, and it's La Baguette, this one right here. So La Baguette is the one I fell in love with. I did it after I did a video on the entire collection from sample, and I'm an iris lover, and this is a great iris fragrance. In fact, I'm going to tell you a bit of a layering duo here in a little bit with another fragrance. But if you're into iris, definitely check this one out. It's more like a suede leather, even though it says leather accord, along with the iris ultimate and vanilla are the notes. Really wonderful take on iris. It smells super luxury, super sophisticated, and it has a little bit of a loudness. Again, it's a designer. It doesn't have the intense sillage and things like that. Once in a while we get those, but usually they kind of somehow control the fragrances to not be overly intense. But I love the way this smells. It smells super fantastic, very luxurious, very expensive, super amazing iris here. I absolutely love it. And against the leather and the vanilla, it creates a bit of a suede, smooth suede leather accord that's powdery and fantastic. So Fendi La Baguette, check that out if you don't know it. But the next fragrance, going to the house of Guerlain. This is from the Art et L'Amitié collection. It's Patchouli Paris. So this launched around the time Juicebox's 54 was launching, and Neiman Marcus had just put this out in August here. And I took a bottle of 54 there. We compared it, and the associate said, oh my God, this is so weak compared to 54. You know, I really love the way this smells. I like that whole aldehydic contrast to patchouli. It doesn't go chocolate cakey, but still very clean and patchouli. It's super sexy. I love it. But it is kind of on the weak side compared to something like Tobacco Honey that they launched last year. That is so loud, so intense. Here we got a bit more of a skin scent. I'm not saying it's weak, but when I compared 54 with Patchouli Paris, the sales associate who worked with Guerlain said, oh my God, 54 is so much stronger. But as a smell, I love it. It's patchouli, iris, aldehydes, ambergris, musk, and vanilla. It's classy and very elegant, and also very clean. It has great lingering power, but it doesn't have that big, intense sillage that I like. Again, I know Guerlain can do it. They did it with Tobacco Honey, and this one is a bit more subdued compared to that. Anyway, Patchouli Paris at number 6. Then it's Dior again, Rouge Trafalgar Esprit de Parfum. And recently a friend fell in love with Rouge Trafalgar way before this launched. They ended up buying a 40 ml bottle. and they were complaining to me that it didn't last at all. It's completely weak. And I said, yeah, that fragrance, I don't know what they did to it. When it first came out, it was decent, but I mean, throughout its lifetime, it got really weak and it was not performing. I don't know if they'll go for this because this one's gone uber like succulent, but I really, really love this one. I think it smells super fantastic, really intense, really fun, really playful, and a really concentrated take on the original Rouge Trafalgar. If you haven't tried it, try it. There is a bit of a cherry accord here, but it has gourmand notes, pink pepper, two kinds of roses and fruity touches in there as well. So that's Rouge Trafalgar from the house of Dior, and that's from the Dior Privé collection. It's the Esprit de Parfum. And the next fragrance is from the house of Hermes. It's Oud Alezan, this one right here. So Oud Alezan is such a nice rose oud combo. It kind of has ignited my interest for rose and oud because I've been bored of it. And the way that Christine Nagel has done this fragrance, it's super sophisticated and really elegant to wear. So it's exceptional oud, rose hydrolat, and rose oxide. These are different kinds of notes that the perfumer is using. I'm not sure it's just these notes. These are the ones that they're highlighting. Most likely there's amber in here. There's spices in here. There's probably other woodsy notes in here. But a really, really great take on a style of fragrance that's been overdone. So this probably came out way too late. The oud craze had already kind of died down. But if fragrances can smell this great, I think it could ignite somebody's interest in oud and rose again. I don't know if you guys have tried it. Do try it. This is the first eau de parfum in the Hermescence collection. Previously, all of them were eau de toilette. This is the first eau de parfum. Really, really great. Even though it's overpriced, I think, the smell is super fantastic. So, Oud Alezan from the house of Hermes is at number 4. All right, next it's from the house of Celine. It's a Zuzu, this one right here. This smells super, super fantastic. I love it. It does remind me a little bit of Le Lion from the house of Chanel, but without the smoky animalic touches. But the only thing I complain about this one is a bit weak. Once again, it doesn't have that oomph that I wanted from it. And what I do is layer these two together, La Baguette and Zuzu together. Oh my God, it smells super, super fantastic, guys. Great layering combo and kind of similar bottles too. And also, they're LVMH brands, so Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. But really, it's become a favorite of mine from this house. I might still prefer black tie over Zuzu, but Zuzu smells really great. It's benzoin, tonka beans, patchouli, labdanum, vanillin, musk. And as I was saying, it kind of reminds me of Le Lion without the animalic touches, the leathery touches. It's more like a gourmand amber vanilla combo. Really super delicious. And if you have La Baguette and Zuzu, try that combo. It's super fantastic. So that's Celine's Zuzu at number 3. And I'm surprised with this one, how great it is. This is from the house of Dries Van Noten. It's Chamomile Satin. I think it's my favorite fragrance in this line now. And this one created duo of perfumers. It's once again Julien Rascanet and Paul Guerlain, and these two were created by two different perfumers each. So both of them involve Julien Rascanet, but Amber Intrigue is Pascal Gorin, and here it's Julien Rascanet with Paul Guerlain. But as you can see, I much prefer this one over Amber Intrigue. Really wonderful. A great combo of notes. Galbanum, musk, vanilla, Turkish rose together. It's a bit on the gourmand side. Super fantastic. Long lasting, not super, super loud, but it's a bit louder than some of the other fragrances, and that's what I like about it. Really, really wonderful offering. Deserves the number 2 spot. It's Chamomile Satin from the house of Dries Van Noten. Last but not least, this one, oh man, as soon as I put my nose on it, I was like, I gotta have a bottle. This is Balmain's Sel d'Ambre, this one right here. What a great fragrance this is. It's amber, olibanum, ambergris, tea, orris. I love it. I love the way this smells. It's super fantastic. Slightly smoky, a bit musky, a bit salty, very cozy and powdery together. Is this also Canton Biche? Yeah, I knew when I first sampled these fragrances at the Galerie Lafayette in Paris. It's sampling the exclusive fragrances from Valentino, kind of dismissed them. Then I got to these and I was like, I like them. But man, it reminding me of, Givaudan perfumers. And sure enough, they're involved with some of the fragrances, especially the ones I like. But this Sel d'Ambre is super fantastic, guys. Do try it. I think you're going to like it. There's a super, super sexy vibe about it. And you're going to really, really dig it if you like this kind of a fragrance. So Cell d'Ambre at number 1. Totally worth it there. And the thing I want to mention also, somebody wrote to me and asked in a comment, what do you consider sexy? How do you know it's sexy? Well, if you don't know how to decide what sexy is, then I'm not sure how I can help you. It's only for the person deciding when they see something. Like you might find a woman super sexy. You might find a flower super sexy, a car super sexy. And then the same thing with a fragrance. You might smell it and go, oh my God, that's super sexy. That's how you decide. There's no real rules. I find Cell d'Ambre by Balmain super, super sexy. It's an amazing release from that house. And once again, I wish it was a little more potent, but I think the potency is just right. Anyway, those are the fragrances I'm talking about today. Let me know your thoughts on these luxury designer launches of 2024. Is there something else that I might have missed? Let me know. Let me check it out if you add a comment below. But otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So real quickly, I want to highlight a couple of fragrances that I didn't add to the main list. Most importantly, Afternoon Delight from Maison Margiela. I completely forgot about it when I was putting my designer list together. It's a unisex offering, and it's a delicious kind of a Madeleine-inspired gourmand with vanilla and whipped cream, or Madeleine Accord. I feel like there's whipped cream here, but it's sandalwood in there, so it acts very creamy and almost like whipped cream, but a bit bitter and a little medicinal as well. And it's the sandalwood note that's in here that's providing that. Really wonderful offering. I think it's a great scent. It doesn't smell like Tendre Madeleine from the house of drawing a blank, Les Entours Gourmands. And then last but not least, this one came out. I heard rumors that this is coming back, but I feel like this is also a really interesting launch. I'm saving it until they launch it again, and I'm not sure if it's being launched, but it's a really kind of a gourmand take on suede leather with nutty notes. It's a limited edition launch from Hermes. It's called Paddock. Did you guys hear about it? Let me know. And that's basically all I have for you guys. Great fragrances of 2024 from the designers, mostly luxury collections. See you guys later. Bye-bye.